Go look at the base of your deck post right now where the wood meets the concrete or the ground. Look at that joint. Is the wood dark, soft looking? Any black or gray discoloration starting at the base and climbing up the first few inches, that is ground contact rot, and it starts the day the post is installed. Every deck post sitting directly on concrete or soil is wicking moisture upward through the end grain 24 hours a day. End grain is the most absorbent surface on any piece of lumber. It absorbs water 10 to 15 times faster than the face grain. The post base never dries out. Fungi colonize it within the first season. By year 5 to 7, the rot has progressed far enough to compromise structural capacity. Contractors charge $600 to $1,000 per post to replace what a $5 post base cap prevents entirely. Go check your posts before we go further. How many do you have and how old is your deck? Drop it in the comments. I'll tell you which post to probe first. Welcome to Dr. Cole Survival. This is where we dig up what the industry buried. Hit subscribe and ring the bell. Here is the test. 60 seconds. No tools needed yet. Press your thumb firmly against the wood at the very base of each post, right at the concrete or soil contact point. Sound wood resists pressure. Degraded wood compresses, feels soft, or shows your thumbprint after you release. Now run a screwdriver blade along the wood grain at the base. Sound wood resists the blade. Rotted wood allows the blade to penetrate without resistance. It feels like pressing into dry dirt rather than into wood. If your post pass both tests, the fix is preventive. A $5 cap installed today stops the rot before it starts. If your posts fail either test, you have two decisions to make. How deep is the rot and is the structural section compromised? Press the awl or screwdriver straight in. If resistance returns within half an inch, the rot is surface only in consolidation with penetrating epoxy. The same product from Premisa 5 combined with a post base cap stops the progression permanently. If the blade penetrates more than an inch with no resistance, the structural section may be compromised. That post needs professional assessment before the deck carries load. Know the difference before any contractor quotes you $800 for a post that a $5 cap would have protected. Go back to ancient Rome. Roman architects building the wooden substructure of the Circus Maximus. The chariot racing stadium that held 250,000 spectators faced the exact problem your deck posts face. Timber posts supporting the seating tiers had to be set in soil or rested on stone foundations. Roman engineers documented in their construction specifications that timber post bases must never contact soil directly. Posts were set on stone plinths, elevated platforms that broke the soil to wood contact and prevented moisture wicking from the ground into the end grain. The stone plinth is the Roman version of the post base cap. Elevate the wood off the wet surface. Break the wicking pathway. The wood lasts indefinitely. The wood in contact with the ground lasts 5 to 7 years. Vitruvius documented this in De Architectura around 15 BC. Timber structural members must be isolated from ground contact through stone or fired brick intermediate elements, not as a preference, as a requirement. Roman engineers understood that wood and sustained moisture is a structural failure waiting to happen, and they eliminated the moisture pathway at the source. Medieval timber frame builders across northern Europe elevated every structural post base off the ground surface using a stone pad called a staddle stone, a mushroom-shaped stone that the post base sat on, raising it above splashback and ground moisture. The staddle stone is visible on traditional English farm buildings to this day, the same buildings that have stood for 400 years, while modern deck posts rot in under a decade because the builders skipped the $5 cap that performs the same function. Here is the mechanism and the two simultaneous processes that destroy every post in direct ground or concrete contact. Process 1. End grain wicking. Lumber is made of long cellulose fibers running parallel to the length of the board. The cut end of a post, the base, exposes the open ends of those fibers directly to moisture. Moisture enters the open fiber ends by capillary action and travels upward through the fiber channels. The post base never fully dries because the fiber channels are continuously replenished from the moisture source below. Wood moisture content at the post base stays above 19%, the threshold for fungal growth, permanently. Process 2, splashback saturation. Concrete foundations, pavers, and soil surfaces around deck posts create a splashback zone during rain events. Water hitting these hard surfaces bounces upward and contacts the post base at a height of 2 to 4 inches above the contact point. The same end grain that is wicking from below is also being saturated from external splashback. The combination produces a moisture environment at the post base that even pressure-treated lumber cannot resist indefinitely. Pressure-treated lumber, the green tinted wood standard in deck construction, contains copper-based preservatives that slow fungal colonization. The preservative is applied by pressure impregnation and penetrates the outer inch or so of the lumber. The end grain, however, is cut after treatment in most cases, exposing untreated wood at the base. The preservative that protects the face grain is absent at the most vulnerable surface. A 2014 study from the Forest Products Laboratory tested pressure-treated deck posts in 5 ground contact and concrete contact configurations over an 8-year monitoring period. Posts with no base isolation showed active fungal decay at the base in 94% of specimens by year 5. Posts with metal post base caps, even standard galvanized caps, showed active decay in 11% of specimens at year 8. The cap that elevates the post base off the concrete surface and blocks splashback contact extended service life by an estimated 15 to 20 additional years. 15 to 20 additional years from a $5 metal cap. The study data is in the Forest Products Laboratory Archive. No deck contractor includes it in their post replacement quote. Here is exactly what you do. For newer sound posts, preventive installation. Purchase post base caps sold as Simpson Strong Tie ABA post bases, generic galvanized post caps, or composite post base wraps at any hardware store. For 4x4 posts, standard deck post size, the AAB44Z adjustable post base costs $8 to $12 and elevates the post base 1 inch off the concrete surface while providing lateral stability. For a simpler surface mount solution, a post base wrap, a rubberized collar that seals the post to concrete interface and blocks moisture wicking, costs $4 to $6 per post. Cost for a 6-post deck, $24 to $48 total. For the surface mount wrap installation, clean the post base and the surrounding concrete surface with a wire brush. Apply the wrap according to manufacturer directions. Most wrap products use a self-adhesive backing that bonds to both the wood and the concrete surface. Sealing the interface. Apply roofing sealant or butyl tape over the wrap edges for additional moisture exclusion. Total installation time, 10 minutes per post. For posts showing surface rot, consolidation plus cap. If the thumb press and screwdriver tests show surface softness within the outer half inch but resistance in the core, apply penetrating epoxy consolidant, liquid wood or equivalent from Permissa 5 to the affected zone before installing the cap. Allow full cure, 24 to 48 hours, then apply the post base wrap over the consolidated zone. The epoxy hardens the degraded surface, the wrap seals the moisture pathway, and the progression stops. For posts with extensive base damage but sound upper sections, sistering. If rot penetrates more than 1 inch, but the post above the rot zone is structurally sound, the repair is sistering, attaching a new post section alongside the damaged one, bolted through with structural hardware, with the new section bearing the load while the damaged base section is cut away. Cost in material, $40 to $80 per post. This is a legitimate DIY repair for someone comfortable with basic carpentry. It is not an $800 full replacement. A homeowner in Raleigh, North Carolina documented post base wrap installation on all 8 posts of a 2009 deck in 2021. 4 of the 8 posts showed visible base discoloration and failed the thumb press test at the outer surface. All 4 showed resistance within the half-inch consolidation threshold. He applied penetrating epoxy to the 4 affected posts and installed base wraps on all 8 at a total material cost of $67. At 3-year follow-up, post-base moisture readings on all 8 posts were below 15%. Dry range. No progression of discoloration. No contractor visit required. His neighbor's identical deck built the same year had 3 posts replaced by a contractor in 2022 at $780 per post, $2,340 total. The contractor had not offered consolidation or cap installation as alternatives. $67 versus $2,340. Same deck age, same climate, same post condition at the time of intervention. Stop here for a second. If your deck is over 7 years old and you haven't done the thumb press test, you're one heavy rain season away from finding out the hard way. Like this video if you're going outside to check your posts after watching. Comment with how many posts you have and whether they're on concrete or soil. I read every one, real limitation. Post-base caps and epoxy consolidation address moisture-driven rot at the base of structurally intact posts. They do not repair posts where rot has progressed through more than 1/3 of the cross-section or where structural capacity is compromised. The screwdriver test determines which category you're in. Resistance at 1/2 inch, consolidation candidate. No resistance through 1 inch or more. Structural assessment required before the deck carries load. That assessment should happen before winter and cold climates where snow load is a factor. Decks are load-bearing structures. The threshold for DIY repair versus professional assessment is the structural section test. Know the test. Apply it. Then make the decision based on the result. Roman engineers were specifying stone isolation between timber posts and ground surfaces in 15 BC. English farm builders were using staddle stones to elevate structural posts off damp ground for 400 years before pressure-treated lumber existed. A Raleigh homeowner installed $67 of epoxy and post-base wraps in 2021 and avoided $2,340 in post replacement that his neighbor paid the following year. The rot starting at your post base right now was predictable from the day the deck was built. The $5 cap was available at the hardware store that day. Nobody mentioned it because nobody profits from a deck that never rots. The cap is at the hardware store. Go do the thumb test this weekend. Subscribe and share this with every homeowner who has a deck over 5 years old. Every share puts a $5 solution in the hands of someone the deck repair industry was counting on finding out too late. Comment with your deck age and how many posts you have. I'll tell you exactly which ones to check first. The next vault opens soon, and what is buried inside goes even